Hey everybody, it's Rob from SonyRumors.net, and the thing that we're going to be going over today is the Bloggie Touch. As you guys might know, this segment is, I guess, more so for Mac users, but if anybody finds it helpful, I'm glad that they do. But Sony just announced that they are supporting the Bloggie Touch via a native software update. So up until now, there hasn't really been any specific software from Sony that allowed you to interact with it. Sure, the iLife series does automatically work with it, but this is the first time that Sony is fully supporting it. And not only do you get some really cool features out of the software that Sony's introducing, but more importantly, you can easily do a firmware update now, which there is a firmware update for the Bloggie Touch. And this just improves some of the performances and UI enhancements within the software update. And this also means that the future Bloggie Duo that's coming out in the Bloggie 3D will automatically out the box have native Mac support, as they will ship with that stuff. So again, this is fantastic news for Mac enthusiasts who like using Sony products, which I'm one of them. And another great thing to note as well is we're going to go over the entire installation setup. So from the get-go of how to actually get to where the installation software is on Sony's website, how to download it, and how to set it up. So if you guys want, feel free to just take your time, browse through this video, but we will go through step by step of how to do the software installation for your Mac, as well as how to do the firmware update for your Bloggie Touch. So again, I think it's a match made in heaven. Apple software, Apple design, Apple hardware, mixed with some of the best design hardwares out there that I can possibly think of. Great Sony quality products now, match made in heaven with Apple products. So again, I hope you guys enjoy and find this helpful. Okay everybody, so the first thing that we want to do is to open up our Safari browser. And so we'll go ahead and click on Safari in our dock. And I'm just going to go through this through our website. So if you go to SonyRumors.net, and you'll notice the reason I'm doing this is we actually have a link directly to Sony's support site. So once you come to our website, if you scroll all the way down on the bottom left hand side, you'll notice Sony support, and go ahead and click on that link. Or you can just go to esupport.sony.com. Here we're going to click on software drivers since we want to install this software for our Mac. And the model number is going to be the model number of our device. In this case, being the Bloggie Touch, which specifically is the MHS TS20, sorry. And we're going to click on continue. And on this next page, it's going to ask us which operating system. And you notice both Leopard and Snow Leopard are supported. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and go with Snow Leopard. And then it's going to ask us, do we want to install the software, or do we want to do actually a firmware update? And I'll show you how we can do both of them. But in this case, we're going to just go ahead and go with the software. And we're going to click download file now. And one more time, it's going to ask us, is that what we want to download? And if you scroll down, it'll give you some instructions. But we'll go ahead and click on download now. And we're going to accept their agreement right over here. So again, when we click on accept agreement, that's actually when Safari will start our download for us. And in the meanwhile, what we can do is we can actually go back. And we can also start downloading the firmware update for the Bloggie Touch. And so again, we're going to click on firmware, and the very same steps. We're going to click on download file now. And then we're going to click download. And again, this page does give us instructions on what to do. And we're going to accept their agreement. And then you're going to notice that our firmware update will also begin downloading for us. So here, after our download is done and it is in our download folder, I'm going to go ahead and open that up and click on the setup Bloggie for the Mac.dmg. And once we actually click that, our installer will open up for us. And we'll go ahead and double click on setup Bloggie. And it's going to say, hey, you know, do we trust this? And yes, we do. So we're going to go ahead and click open on that. And the installer is going to start from Sony. Again, you can watch this little video, which just highlights the Bloggie, or you can go ahead and just click install, and that's what we're gonna do. And we agree to their user license agreement, and I'm gonna go ahead and click on I accept and click on next. And again, it's just gonna say, hey, this device does access the internet. Are you okay with that? And I'm gonna go ahead and click on OK, and it's gonna ask you for your computer's password here to finish the installation. And I'm gonna go ahead and type it in and click OK. Next, after the installer finishes itself, you're gonna notice that once the installation is done, the program will actually quit itself out, and then it will open back up. In this case, it's going to also note that my Bloggie Touch is plugged into the system, and it's going to detect it. And again, if you're familiar with iLife and things of that nature, the beginning screen that you were on, you can make that go away by clicking and saying, don't show this on startup anymore. And here, it's noticed that my Bloggie Touch has been plugged in. I can either click on import all, or I can click on individual ones, or I can hold down control. And what I can do is I can select different photos and videos that I want and just import the ones that I want. So it's really up to you to do that. And here it's just importing 4 in. Again, very similar to iPhoto for those familiar. After it's finished importing, I can actually go to our library over there, and it will show everything we have. And you can organize by just viewing the photos or just by viewing the videos, and you can double click on them and view them, and you can actually trim the videos, things of that nature. Although if you really want to edit your videos, I would highly recommend going to just iMovie. And notice if you want to share it with YouTube or Flickr or Facebook, all you got to do is just drag your clip up there, drop it on the given service you want, and log into it. So again, in this case, if we want to take a photo and let's say we want to share it to Facebook, we'll just click on it, drag it and drop it to Facebook, and then it's going to ask us to sign in, which will open up a new window for us. And this window right here will allow these two programs to link each other. Again, I'm just going to go ahead and click on cancel for now. Again, we're going to go back to our main library. Other things you're also able to do is you can create albums if you want. You can create as many of them as you like. So again, we've just selected those two, clicked on create an album, and gave them a name. And you can, if you want, directly drag the album to your given services, and again, it will publish that entire album for us. So that's actually really, really cool to do that. So you don't have to do them individually by any means. Another thing you can do is you can customize your services up there. So maybe you don't use Flickr, but you use Picasa instead. So you can drag the Picasa button up there. And notice it says up to 14 of your favorite services. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's a software update in the near future to add additional services right here. And the cool button is if you click on create groups, you can, for example, create a group called family, add in their email address, and every time you drag pictures to, your family in your group called mom and dad, it'll automatically email them. And again, it's a free service. You set it up through Sony, and I won't go through the setup, but it's very, very cool. You can create specific groups if you want, and you just drag what you want, and it automatically sends it to them. In this case, we're just going to go ahead and jump out. And the next thing I'm going to show you guys is the firmware update for your Bloggie Touch. So again, the first thing we're going to do is the Bloggie comes with 2 folders when you plug it in, and go ahead and open up the Bloggie folder on your desktop. And all we have to do is drag the firmware software that was in our downloads folder, drag it into the Bloggie folder, so not the Bloggie_SW, just the Bloggie one. And then next we just eject our Bloggie, and when you turn it on next, it will start doing the software update directly on the camera for you. So very, very easy. Okay, everybody, so this is the part of the segment where we actually take some of your questions and answer them for you. So hopefully this will even give you guys a little further insight about the Bloggie Touch and how it works with the Mac overall. We have a few Twitter and Facebook questions for today. As far as Twitter goes, MacFan2000 asks, will the Bloggie Touch work with iMovie or iPhoto without the Sony software update? And it absolutely will. As of right now, if you just grab your Bloggie, plug it into your Mac, you can interact with it with either iMovie or iPhoto. iPhoto, obviously, for the photos that you've taken on your Bloggie Touch, and iMovie to obviously import the movies, as well as edit them and publish them to places like YouTube and Facebook and things of that nature, so you don't have to do the Sony software update. Having said that, again, it does have some really cool features. The key thing that I talked to you about is the sharing aspect of it, especially if you like sharing your stuff via email with friends and family and it's on a regular basis. It's really nice to install that software update. And again, even if you're not going to use it on a daily basis, and I'm not going to lie, this video itself is being made on iMovie, but it's really nice that if there's a regular group that you email them photos or you email them videos, you can create these groups and just drag and drop what you want. It automatically sends them out. You don't need to recreate them over and over and over again. John C. on Twitter again asks, what version of Mac OS are supported with the software update? As of right now, both Leopard and Snow Leopard are supported. So that is 10.5 and 10.6. So Tiger users, there's very few of you out there now comparatively, but there's no support for you. And I don't believe Power PCs are supported. I believe this is an Intel only. But again, for us Mac users, we've been on that transition for almost 6 years now. So Veronica on Twitter also asks, what resolution is supported on the Bloggie Touch and on iMovie? iMovie actually allows you to fully edit in 1080p, and the Bloggie Touch can record in that, so there's not going to be any kind of down conversion. If anything, sure, shoot in 1080, and if you want, export out in a lower resolution 720p or 480 standard, whatever you want to do. But again, the Bloggie can do full 480 or full 1080p, and your Mac can handle 1080p as well. General asks, how much space does the software update take? It actually takes really minimal amount of space, 50 megabytes. So again, that's really a drop in the bucket compared to the hard drives that you've been getting the last few years. So I would say it's the last of your worries. On Facebook, Lizzie asks, does a USB hub work with the Bloggie Touch? It absolutely does. I have it plugged into a hub myself. If anything, I actually have it plugged into a hub and a USB extension cable, and then I plug in my Bloggie Touch, and it works without a hitch. So USB hubs are absolutely supported. And last but not least, Benjamin asks, will this work with the MacBook Air or iPad? MacBook Air, absolutely. Doesn't matter if you had the older version or the newer version that's out. Again, plug it into the USB port and you will have no problem interacting with it. And again, whether you want to use the native iLife software or download the Sony one, both will work with it. I tried it with the iPad. It unfortunately does not work. The Bloggie Touch needs more power to run itself when it's plugged into a USB port, and the iPad cannot output that kind of power. So it will not work. And the same is actually true with all kind of other flip cameras that I've seen. I have the Flip Ultra HD, and again, it doesn't work with that either, but neither does the Sony unit because it's just taking away too much power. As far as it goes, that is definitely the last of the questions we have. So again, as always, you guys, if you guys have any questions, feel free to visit us on Facebook, Twitter, or come to our website, drop us a comment, email us, whatever it is, and we would love to answer these questions for you.